for One Piece film Strong World, which is not canon. However, he also appeared in the special Chapter 0, which is canon. As a result, whenever I am discussing Shiki's personality, I'm not going to bother to distinguish between the two, but when it comes to discussing the events of Strong World, I am going to make a special note that we are entering the territory of the film. But for now, let's just sit back and enjoy some of the old Shiki. Shiki is an extraordinarily powerful pirate who fought for domination of the seas during the era of Roger and Whitebeard. He is a rather large man who favors traditional Japanese aesthetics, which is reflected in his choice of clothing and architecture. In terms of personality, Shiki is surprisingly light-hearted for the majority of the time. However, he can become quite ruthless towards his enemies and even his own crew. Although it should be said that unlike many traditional antagonists, Shiki does greatly value his own close crew members, such as Dr. Indigo and Scarlet. Wait, not that Scarlet, the monkey one. Yeah, that's Scarlet. That's the one. In fact, these three are so close that they often act like an old-time comedy trio, telling generally terrible jokes. And Shiki's comic streak does not end there, because he also frequently mistakes things for any number of other things. For example, he once mistook a storm for a perm. As a contemporary of Roger, Shiki held great respect for the Pirate King and even offered him an alliance at one stage, although Roger rejected the notion due to their differing ideologies. Shiki being a man who wished to conquer the world, while Roger simply fought for the right of absolute freedom. As a result, throughout their era, Shiki and Roger clashed on many occasions, the best known of which was the Ed War. After hearing that Roger had discovered one of the ancient weapons, Shiki and his fleet of 51 sheeps. You're an idiot. After hearing that Roger had discovered one of the ancient weapons, Shiki and his fleet of 51 ships confronted Roger's crew in a currently unknown location of the world. During this conflict, Shiki would end up losing half of his fleet due to a storm, and even had a steering wheel fly into his head, nearly killing him. In fact, after consultation with a doctor, it was deemed that removing the wheel would indeed kill him, so Shiki continued life looking like a rooster with a steering wheel stuck in his head. Despite this great loss, or perhaps because of it, Shiki's respect for Roger was so great that he shot the messenger who told him that Roger had been caught by the Marines. Shiki then proceeded to make his way to Marineford alone to confront those who had allegedly captured his old rival, demanding that Roger be brought to him so that Shiki could kill him with his own hands. Instead, Shiki was met by Sengoku and Garp, and a battle ensued that destroyed half of Marineford, culminating in Shiki's defeat. However, even if he did lose, the fact that Shiki was capable of combating both Sengoku and Garp at once, in their prime no less, speaks to his raw strength. To further add to this legacy, Shiki was a man that even Whitebeard was wary of, both due to his physical power and his mental prowess as a strategist. After his defeat at Marineford, Shiki was sent to level 6 of Impel Down. Eventually, Shiki decided to sever his own legs in order to escape his sea stone shackles. And without his lower limbs, Shiki proceeded to become the first individual to ever escape Impel Down through the use of his devil fruit, the Fua Fua no Mi. This is a paramecia type devil fruit that allows the user to levitate themselves, as well as any non-living objects after touching them. This ability also led to his epithet, which is Flying Pirate. So yeah, Shiki simply floated his way out of prison. Later on, in order to replace his legs, Shiki grafted two double-edged swords named Oto and Kogarashi, which are allegedly quite famous blades, and Shiki used to use them both as regular swords. From here, Shiki approached Whitebeard, and just as he had done with Roger, he proposed an alliance, to which Whitebeard simply threatened to throw him overboard if he didn't shut up. Shiki then told Whitebeard that he would disappear for a while and claimed that one day he would show the true fear of piracy to all of the rookies who had emerged after Roger's execution. Shiki's final canon appearance in the series takes place on an unexplored island in the Grand Line, speaking to Dr. Indigo about how their experiments were coming along. These experiments involved creating mutated animals to wreak havoc on the world, and although Dr. Indigo informed him that it would take 20 years to complete, Shiki, proving surprisingly patient, immediately accepted this claim and stated that after 20 years he would create hell on Earth. Now that would be quite an ominous end to one of the most revered pirates in history, but luckily we do have the continuation of this story in the form of One Piece film Strong World. However, I must stress that the events beyond this point are not part of the series canon. According to Strong World, during these 20 years, Shiki had created a series of floating islands known as Mervale in order to continue to perfect his experiments. When he was finally ready to set his plans into motion, Shiki released several of his beasts to attack East Blue, as well as launched a direct attack on Marineford as a warning to his former foes. After this assault, Shiki came across the Thousand Sunny and the Straw Hats by chance. After Nami detected a storm incoming, Luffy decided to warn Shiki's vessel, and the two ships escaped unharmed. Shiki then shot his navigator for not being able to detect the deadly storm, form and made his way down to the Thousand Sunny to meet Nami. Then, long story short, Shiki ended up kidnapping Nami to join his crew and separated the remaining Straw Hats on his collection of floating islands. Despite having kidnapped her, Shiki never forced Nami to do anything and instead set about convincing her to join his crew. However, he would not get his wishes until he had had a direct confrontation with Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and Chopper, resulting in Shiki's victory. At this point, Nami acquiesced and joined Shiki's crew, and showing some sense of honor, Shiki then allowed Nami to leave a parting message to her former crew in the form of a tone dial. However, in reality, this was but a clever ruse by Nami, who set about to sabotage Shiki's plans, culminating in one final conflict with the entirety of the Straw Hat crew at his headquarters. After a hard-fought battle, Shiki would be defeated by Luffy, with his final spoken words in the series taking note of the fact that he was about to be defeated by another man from East Blue, followed by Shiki exclaiming Roger's name prior to being struck with a Gear 3rd attack. Shiki's fate following this is unknown. Some more fun facts about Shiki. Shiki's overall design resembles a typical Japanese shogun. However, during his initial appearance in a very early trailer for Strong World, he was shown wearing entirely different attire. He was also much more slender and carried a red sword. Shiki's straddling of canon is a result of Oda's indecision of how to use the character. Originally, Oda wanted Shiki's name to be dropped during the confrontation between Shanks and Whitebeard after the events of Enies Lobby. However, Oda held back with the thought that it may be too much information for readers at the time. So Shiki was entirely intended to have an arc of his own. However, eventually the decision was made to use his story for Strong World. Aside from Chapter 0, Shiki's only mention in the manga is when Sengoku name drops him as the only person to have ever escaped from Impel Down, although it should be noted that this was more than likely structured to be a bit of a direct tie-in with Strong World. And finally, a truly useless fact. Despite the fact that Dr. Indigo's fart-sounding steps annoy the hell out of Shiki, he tolerates them because of their long-standing friendship. And that pretty much does it for Shiki. If you enjoyed this video, then feel free to like, favorite, or subscribe, and if you are